Hello, church. I'm very excited to introduce this video. It's actually a video devotional done by Cindy Morris on the importance of taking care of our mental health over the holidays. And as a church, several of us have, over the pandemic, been able to participate thanks to an incredible scholarship opportunity by the American Association of Christian Counselors in a mental health coaching program. And as a church, we're actually looking for ways to introduce these concepts into our church. And this is our very first attempt. Cindy did a great job on this devotional, and as a church staff, we are praying that this is helpful to you and your family as we enter into the holiday season. We are very grateful for the opportunity to have done this certificate program, but we're also very excited about the ways we'll be able to implement these things into the church and help our members with this material. We love you, and I leave you now with Cindy Morris.
Thank you for joining me. A few weeks ago, someone asked me to do a lesson for our small group, and I said, sure. Inside thinking, they have no idea how anxious I am about this holiday season. So I thought it'd be therapeutic for me to write a lesson, a devotional. So that is what I did. Then traveling a little forward with different things going on with health in our family and the kids not being able to come in for Christmas from other states, between the tears and the joy, I really have referred back to this lesson for me personally. So if you need to grab a cup of coffee, hot chocolate, just sit back. You might want to take some notes. You might want to just watch it and then process some things later. But I'm going to do a devotional on ho ho hum. And it's about keeping our sanity in an insane time. Now, a concept for 2020, this is not new. The way that we can feel the ho ho hum of Christmas at 2020. Origins of the Christmas problem. A man named James Cattell, he was a Harvard and Columbia trained psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, coined the term the holiday syndrome, describing it as a reaction to some patients that manifests itself beginning around Thanksgiving and ending a few days after January 1st. It's characterized, he insisted, by the presence of diffuse anxiety, numerous regressive phenomena including marked feelings of helplessness, possessiveness, and increased irritability, nostalgic or bitter rumination about holiday experiences of youth, depressive affect, and a wish for magical resolution of problems. While the holidays don't necessarily exacerbate the mental health conditions specifically, they do have the tendency to create stress. It is the resulting stress that can trigger or exacerbate mental health conditions such as depression or anxiety. Now we know that mental health heavily influences our quality of life. So it makes sense that mental health, just like physical health, needs to be maintained. First, I want to look at a couple scriptures about the hand of God. Psalm 37, 23 through 24. The steps of the godly are directed by the Lord. He delights in every detail of their lives. Though they stumble, they will not fail, for the Lord holds them by the hand. And in Psalm 31, 14 through 15, but I am trusting you, O Lord, saying, you are my God. My future is in your hands. Now I came across a proverb, it's Proverbs 14:10, that really has helped me this year. It talks about only the person involved can know his bitterness or sadness or sorrow or joy. No one else can really share it or understand it. Why that helps me, it makes it so I'm not placing expectations on someone else to understand how I'm feeling. And then it lessens my anxiety of how I should feel towards other people that are going through situations with depression, anxiety, grief. It just kind of really helped my soul with that. Proverbs 14:10, only the person involved can know his bitterness or joy. No one else can really share it or understand it. So why do feelings of depression or anxiousness surface during the holiday season? I want us to think about that. I want you to journal it, jot down a few things that come to mind, because I want you to ask yourself specifically what causes depression and what causes the anxiety in me when I'm dealing with this holiday season, because that's what we're talking about. You know, the holiday season can bring mixed emotions for many. Some, it's their favorite time of year. Seeing old friends, family, excited to come in and enjoy parties and dinners, and they enjoy attending holiday functions at work. The neighborhood, when they have functions, it's fun to be a part of that. Love gift giving, enjoy serving others. For others, it brings feelings of sadness and loss. It can bring up disappointments, sad memories, divorce, loss of a loved one, family living far away at this time. And then still others become anxious at Christmas, self-induced, spending a lot of money on gifts and incur increasing debt, expectations for social gatherings with family, friends, acquaintances, and they'd rather not spend time with people at all. They feel very lonely at Christmas because they have suffered the loss of loved ones or their jobs. And for another group of people, it can be very depressing time at Christmas, and they can even be angry. Excess commercialization of Christmas, the overfocus of gift giving, emphasis on perfect social activities. It can trigger us to engage in excessive self-reflection, rumination about the inadequacies of life, a victim mentality in comparison with other people who seem to have more and do more. So we get these thoughts in our head. But if we look at Philippians 4:8, it says, whatever is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, or praiseworthy, think on these things. Now, I don't know about you, but like I mentioned, I get anxious and I get depressed. And the feelings around the holiday season, they do exacerbate in that time. And I recently went home in the fall to visit my mom because I hadn't seen her for so long. And getting with my family really creates anxiety. And so I really prayed, I got advice, I thought through how I was going to handle being home with my 4 other siblings and my mom. Because we get along separately and we get along, but when we get together, we start talking about things, whether it's the past, whether it's the future, politics, whatever it is. I find that I revert to that 13 or that 16-year-old that says things, does things, refers to things that are not appropriate. They're not Christ-like. It's not spiritual. So to guard my heart this time going home, I got with my siblings, with my mom, and then individually with my sister and then my brother and his wife. And it was such an ease to my spirit. Got together, we had a meal, played games, just chatted, but it was very calming. It cut down on the different things that we talked about. There wasn't that interaction of other siblings the biting and the snipping at each other, the sarcasm. But it's just something to think about going forward into your holiday season of we really have to think, pray, seek advice from someone that knows us on how to deal with something that our past affects. Okay, what does God want from us this holiday season? And I think the greatest thing he wants for us as we celebrate Christ's birth is to be at peace, to have a peaceful time, because we get overwhelmed. Colossians 3:14-16, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony, and let the peace of Christ rule in your heart, and be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. 1 Corinthians 14:33 talks about, for God is not of disorder, but of peace. And we know that, and we work through different things in our life knowing those scriptures and finding that peace. It's just a reminder for this season. I'd like to look at some practicals because that's kind of what we want. We want someone to fix it, or we want to be able to fix something. So, what I've found is comes down to the expectations or the unrealistic expectations that I put on myself, that I allow other people to put on me. And certainly, the reasons I listed before, they're real about how this season affects us. But let's look at some things that we can do in our life to not be excessive in self-reflection or anything like that, but just that can help us through the holidays. Let's talk about staying mentally healthy during the holidays. Number 1, know your limits. Identify situations that create stress. Maybe even make a gratitude list. We do that at Thanksgiving. Maybe we need to do another one at Christmas. Because gratitude affects relationships. It reflects our self-esteem, our sleep, physical health, psychological health, mental health, empathy. Number 2, simplify your commitments. Organize your time around some activities you want to do and you will enjoy. Sometimes we think that's selfish, but there's a lot of weeks in here. And if we are constantly giving, which I know as disciples we constantly give, and to our families, to others, we don't take care of ourselves. And if we want to enjoy this time with family, with friends, then we want to schedule some times in there of things that we enjoy doing. So simplify your commitments. Take care of your physical well-being. Figure out how to add movement, whether it's exercise, as in taking a walk, or grab a friend and to go shopping with, and I know we're in a different time here, but you know what I'm saying. It's just find some time to move and not just sit in front of the TV. Be mindful of food preservatives and additives. Those things can really affect our physical health, which then can affect our mental health. Eat before you go to a party or take a dish you can enjoy. 4, embrace your sense of humor. 5, volunteer your time and talents, because thinking about others, serving really helps us to be joyful at this time. Holidays can bring mixed emotions. So let's look at these tips to make them more joyous. 1, keep your regular routine, because most of all, we cannot neglect or ignore our time with God. That's number 1. When we don't feel like having time with God, or we sleep in and it gets we miss that opportunity, that's not going to help our mental health. We've got to have time with God in the Word, praying, be grateful, praising Him. Time with others is really important, especially people that we want to be with, that bring joy to our life. And sleep. That's really important to a regular routine is sleep. Another one is think moderation, whether it's spending, whether it's gift giving, moderation in your food, moderation in beverages. Just overall, we know overall moderation in our life as disciples is a good thing. Be realistic and try not to expect the ideal holiday. Ours was going to be a really great holiday, and it will still be a holiday, but when your children start dropping off of coming to visit you, whatever expectation I had or you have, it starts to falter. But for those that are going to be around us, it's important to not idolize this holiday or any season in our life and then be disappointed. Stay connected. Be with friends and family that value you. Throw guilt out the window. No unreasonable pressure, because we can do that. We can put pressure on ourselves. Number 6, don't be alone if you don't want to be. God places the lonely in families. He sets the prisoners free and gives them joy. Psalms 68:6. Focus on today, not yesterday. Being with family, sometimes we focus on who we were instead of who we are. Matthew 6:34, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. That's another scripture we are so familiar with that we can really take to heart at this time and help us to be more joyful in our life. Just say no. And there again, we can feel selfish if there's something that we don't want to do. Someone has an expectation of us attending a party or an event and we can't, then we can't feel guilty for saying no. Again, ask for help. We're not in this to do it alone. There's lots of people that want to help us through this time. Be good to yourself. This is your holiday too. And it's just what I've been reiterating along. It's something that we want to enjoy. It's our holiday too, as well as family and friends. So be good to yourself. Galatians 5:22. Fruit of the Spirit is a gift from God. Love, joy, peace, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. Look for the joy and look for the moments of peace. As I mentioned in the very beginning, the Christmas season has become a difficult time for many and for many years in our society. So it's no different for a lot of us, but then you add in our wonderful year of 2020, and then it adds another layer. For those who don't have difficulties at this time of year, it's an opportunity to reach out to those of us that do struggle this time. For those who are depressed, it's an opportunity to take action, to think, feel, and act in ways that breaks free from the past, the best that you can, regardless of circumstances. And at any time, you can go back and revisit these 10 steps that can help us get through to have a more joyous season as well. A lot of us have children, and meeting the needs of our children at this time can be very difficult. Children can struggle with the same issues that we struggle with when it comes to dealing with their feelings at this time of the year. Kids follow our example. We set the tone. Maybe you can carve out some time. You can sit around the kitchen table, sit around the Christmas tree, talk about expectations, talk about how this season is going to go, how Christmas Day is going to go, how the week between Christmas and New Year's is going to go. Let them in on the plan so they know what the expectations are, and then it'll help not to be disappointed when something they thought was going to happen didn't happen. My prayer is that we can all benefit from this devotional and help one another in our mental health needs, because it's a journey through these next few weeks. And the more that we can get help, the more that we can seek advice, and the more that we can rely on God, it's really going to help us in this time. I'm going to post my notes on our church website, and there are some resources that I will also list at the end of my notes. Thank you so much. Have a Merry Christmas.